Good morning, Bill Carroll, Zennie62 Media, and of course, everyone who cares about pro football has heard by now that Deshaun, better known as Deshaun Watson, has suffered a glenoid fracture of the shoulder. And for those that are not terribly familiar, the glenoid is the socket part of the ball and socket. And unlike the hip, which is also a similar type of joint, the shoulder glenoid is fairly shallow, which is why dislocations of the shoulder joint are reasonably uh, common and not super traumatic. Some people can literally pop their shoulders in and out, while the hip it's a very deep joint, and those fractures are or not first fractures, but displacements are very traumatic and very rare and very often career enders. The expected time of recovery is 6 to 12 weeks to get back to fairly normal activity. Now, he's not involved in fairly normal activity. He doesn't work a desk job. He's an NFL quarterback, but probably around the 8 week mark, he should be able to begin some sort of rehabilitation. So the surgery itself to restore the alignment of the joint surface is to use both small plates and screws. And what they'll do is a few weeks after the surgery, they'll do a check to make sure that also that there's no additional damage, everything's healing correctly. The shoulder is one of the more unstable joints, as I mentioned previously, and he's had shoulder problems in the past. And in fact, he had a rotator cuff injury earlier this season. What does this mean for the Browns? Well, obviously the news is bad, but they do have one of the better backup quarterbacks in Philip Walker Jr., and then behind him, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, all of whom have strengths and weaknesses. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is extremely athletic, and he actually has some experience. He'll be likely moved on from just providing looks as a scout team guy to learning the offense, or going back to learning the offense, because he now will be the second string quarterback. And for those that hadn't watched Mr. Walker either at Temple or in his time in the AAF or XFL, he is I would say, above average processor of information with an average to below average arm. But he's tough mentally and physically, and he's not going to drive the truck into a ditch. He's going to do everything possible to keep the truck out of the ditch. He's going to probably play fairly safely. So that hurts your deep tacking, your deep passing game. But if you have David Njoku on your fantasy team, or any of the running backs on your fantasy team, it might mean good things for them. It probably means bad things for anybody who wants to be part of the deep passing attack. And of course, obviously, for the season prognosis, not just medical prognosis, this means that it'll be harder for the Browns to make the playoffs. Not impossible, though. They're still in the running. And of course, we'll keep you up as things change. Bill Carroll, once again, Zennie62 Media, regarding Deshaun, better known as Deshaun Watson's recent shoulder injury.